Hi, today we're going to talk about the basic laws of logarithms. And what we are going to learn is about what are some of the special cases and what are the product laws, the quotient laws, the power laws, as well as some examples. Now, special cases is when log a equals to 1 and log a1 equals to 0. Does these special cases make sense? So if we recall, how do we convert the logarithmic form to the exponential form? We know that log base ay equals to x, so that can be converted to a to the power of x equals to y. Now, if you look at log a equals to 1, what it means is that a to the power of 1 equals to a, which makes sense, right? Because a to the power of 1 is a. And log base a1 equals to 0, if you convert that, that will be a to the power of 0 equals to 1, which also makes sense. Now, if you look at the product law, what it's saying is that if you have log base a x times y, it can be separated into log base a x plus log base a y. So basically, I separate the two logs. And if we look at an example, say log base a 6, and 6 can be written as 2 times 3, right? So I can say that log base a6 equals to log base a2 plus log base a3. And now for the quotient law. If I have log base a x over y, that means it's x divided by y, I can also separate them into two individual logs. But this time round, it will be log base a x minus log base a y. And again, if we look at an example, say if I have log base a 3, and we know that 3 can be written by 6 over 2. So that will be log base a6 minus away log base a2. And lastly, what we want to look at is the power law. Now, if I have log base ax to the power of r, that means ax is raised to the power of r. Say, for example, log base a8. 8 can be written as 2 to the power of 3. What I can do is I can bring down the power and to become 3 log base a2. And there are some common misconceptions that we got to be careful about. Firstly, log is not like algebra. There is no distributive law. Remember that. You cannot open up the brackets. You cannot multiply in the brackets. So there's no distributive law. Do remember that. That is a very common misconception. All right, and log base ax divided by log base ay is not the same as log base a of x over y. Lastly, you need to take a look at the power law. How is log base ax whole thing to the power of n different from log base a x to the power of r, where the r is only applied to x? That is the power law, and the misconception is that you thought that the whole thing is a power law. Now, if you look at some evaluations, some examples, if I want to evaluate log base A64, the idea is to find the value for log base 864. Now, there are two methods that we can do. The first method is to let log base 864 equals to x. So if you convert that to the exponential form, we know that a to the power of x is 64, and from there, I know that x has to be 2. Another way is to recognize that 64 can be expressed as 8 to the power of 2. So log base 864, I can write them as log base 8 to the power of 2. Bring down the power, so that will be 2 times log base 8, which is one of the special cases. You can say that this is 2 times 1, and therefore, well, has to be equals to 2. And if we look at the next example, if I have log base 16, 1 over 8. Now, 16 and 1 over 8, this will become a little bit difficult to use the special case, unless you can recognize that both can be written as power of 2. So what do? I let log base 16, 1 over 8 equals to x. And 16 to the power of x is equals to 1 over 8. This is to express from the logarithmic form to the exponential form. And recognize that 16 and 8, they can be both written as powers of 2. Now, 16 is equals to 2 to the power of 4, and 8, it can be written as 2 to the power of 3. So I'm going to put that back into the equation. So 2 to the power of 4x equals to 1 over 8, which is 2 to the power of 3 to the power of minus 1. And then I can, because they have the same base, I can say that the index has to be the same. 4x equals to negative 3, and x will be equals to negative 3 over 4. So after I found that x is negative 3 over 4, I can safely say that log base 16, 1 over 8 is 3 minus 3 over 4.